Hello, my name is Sephora Pruitt. I'm with the Nocturnal. I loved your documentary, Ernest Cole, Lost and Found. I thought it was very poignant. And I want to ask you, what led you to make this film about Ernest Cole?
Multiple reasons. One of them being that Ernest Cole have been an important, uh, um, I would say, chronicler of the anti-apartheid fight. He's the first to have made basically photos from the belly of the beast and managed to get those photos out, get all his negatives out of South Africa because there was censorship, and each one of his photos are basically a crime. So, and I was approached by the family who have been trying for the last 10 years to make a film about Ernest Cole and having retrieve all his body of work and they were hoping for a revival of his work because he had been forgotten all these years. So it was clear for me there a story that would have all the different layers that I make sure that I have in my films, which is not just the story of one man or one woman, but the story of a whole generation, a story that can touch us today in our lives today. It's not so much a story about the past. It's really about, you know, what can we learn from his own story, and what does his story tells us today about the world we are living in.
Exactly. I personally never heard of Ernest Cole before, and so I'm glad this documentary made me familiar with him, and I learned a lot. And I definitely think his work is very relevant in this climate today.
Well, exactly, exactly.
And so I'd like to ask you, can you walk me through the process after meeting with the family that led you to film and, gather all these resources?
Well, first of all, it was a 2 years process until I told to myself, okay, I'm ready to make this film. I was helping them, making sure that the material were secure. They were in the process of getting everything back to South Africa in one place at the Wits University. And so I helped them. I tried to find money for them as well. And meanwhile, I had the occasion of, sifting through the material, watching the photos, a lot of photos, or that I didn't know. Most of the photos, beside the ones in House of Bondage. So by the time I was able to decide, okay, I see a film, I see how to make it. A lot of time have gone by, and so we were able, the last 3 years basically to make this film happen.
And I'm glad it happened. What encouraged you to have Lakeith Stanfield be the voice of Ernest Cole?
It was a very organic process. Usually, I don't start with anybody in my mind. The first important decision was to say, okay, I want Ernest Cole to tell his story himself. I want to empower him back, to get his voice back, and to be the one to present his work to the world, what he was not able to do when he was alive. And so it was important for me that we stay in his, subjective narrative. And it wasn't until very far in the editing that I start feeling, what voice it could be. And I knew it was not going to be, like the kind of pure, eloquent voice that, is speak English well and all the above. And because usually they put a distance, to the text. And the film had to be from the inside. We have to believe totally that we are with Ernest, even though we hear him in the interview. We hear his actual voice, but the same way in I Am Not Your Negro, whether it's Sam Jackson or Baldwin talking, the magic of cinema allows you to understand that it's the same person. So it was key for me that I have an actor is not only a great actor, but also who brings something else, his voice, a voice that is, has a sort of lassitude in it, a voice that is not perfect in terms of his elocution. And also his soul, I knew he would be able to get on the, Ernest Cole's skin and be Ernest Cole. So when I contact him, it was a really simple conversation, and he got it. And by the way, coincidence that I didn't know, in fact, is that he had been photographing himself for the last 4 years. He
Mm.
bought himself a Leica and was, deep into photography himself. So it was a perfect situation, and he got to learn the character and be the character.
That's very interesting. I definitely thought he was a great choice. And that's cool that he himself was interested in photography and had been doing it for a while.
There was something with the age, the age range. He was the perfect, becoming an adult type of moment in his life, and I could imagine Ernest in his late 20s, being somebody like Keith.
I can see that too. What is your favorite photograph from Ernest Cole?
Um, I don't have one particular. They a lot of them moves me in very different ways. For me, what is interesting is it's the whole world, the whole kingdom that he present to us, and his whole gaze of life. Like he said, he's interested in photographing the human condition, which is also something that I am very fond of. It's even though my film treat a lot of black subject, black history, but it's like Baldwin. It's about the world. It's about the human condition, whatever color you are, whatever country you come from. It's that generation who has a much more collective way of thinking about the world, and I'm very familiar with that, and it's also something I try to be and promote. It's to judge people by who they are, not by what you know established etiquette or name calling you have. So, and we see in this very controversial time in this country what it means to label people, to give them a name, to call them names, to because they come from this or that country, that they are rapists, murderers, etc. So a human voice that carries humanity, that carries universality of human being. This is the voice that I want to support.
Exactly. And I like how you mentioned humanity because that's what I think about when I see his work, showing the humanity of the world, of an injustice. And how do you think Ernest Cole would feel seeing his photographs on the silver screen?
Well, as an artist, and I'm an artist as well, when I think of what I would like my work to become, is of course to survive, to be able to be shown elsewhere, to be able to be seen again and again. So, what is happening with Ernest Cole work is exactly that. There are many exhibition that is already circling in the world. There are books about him coming out. There are more, exposition coming. And in terms of research, they still need a lot of work to do, curating work on his work. Magnum, the big photograph foundation company, or I think they have chosen like around 3,000 pictures. They have curated, because it's a long job. To go over each photo, to try to find out what Ernest Cole wanted to photograph, because if the photographer did not develop the photos himself, You don't always know what he was looking for, you know. So there are a lot of negatives that Ernest Cole did not develop and how being now developed, you know. So you have to know how to handle them, you know. So it's a long process. It takes time, and you know, one curator will choose certain photos, another one will choose different photos. In the film, you will see for the first time Ernest Cole photos on New York and about the south of the U.S. Um, Aperture published a book this year. They have also all these photos of New York and the South, but we don't have a similar choice, you know. So where you know your intention or diverse, you know, it's not. It depends what you're looking for in those photos and what lecture you have of Ernest Cole at a particular time in his life.
Do you believe this film will inspire a whole new generation of Black photojournalists?
Um, we will see. You know, I've grew up in so many different layers of technology. You know, from you know time where I had my dark room in my student studio, where you had to do everything yourself, to today. I saw the evolution of the instruments, including, you know, in film business, you know, from editing on a, you know, with actual film rolls to numerical editing. But something will never change is that you still have to be able to tell a story, you know. It's not because you make a photo, and that's great, that the democratization of the instrument is great, but it also allow a lot of crap, uh, and that takes a lot of room. But it's fine if it's for fun. I don't have anything against it, but it still doesn't make you, you know, you can take a piece of paper and have a pencil and draw whatever you want, because it's cheap, you can do it, but it doesn't make you a painter. You know, it's a longer process. It doesn't make you an artist because an artist require certain sensibilities, certain practice, certain experience, and it's not because it seems easier that you know you can self-proclaim yourself an artist, or you know, or a great photographer. You learn every day. You learn, you know. I've roamed cities, New York as well, you know, where you can go around the city and, you know, maybe take 50 shots, but maybe one will be a great photo. So it's a learning process. It's not something. It's not now with the photos. Now you can do 100 in 1 minute, but doesn't mean anything.
That is very true. I enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Ernest Cole Lost and Found is now playing in select theaters in the states of California, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, New York, Ohio, and Texas. Photos are courtesy of Magnolia Pictures.